Hello, and welcome to Unbox Burrito. It's this nice Nintendo Switch blue and black controller. It comes in this nice box. It has a bunch of features listed here. Some sort of changeable D-pad. There's a turbo button. It's easy to connect and it should be really durable. And let's open it up. Inside, long USB Type-C cable for the controller, level up thank you card, picture and some thank you words. So the controller comes in this plastic bag, and here's a really tiny manual with a very tiny print. So here are the instructions on how to use the controller, how to connect the controller, and how to adjust the vibration. The controller apparently can connect to Android and PC, but here are the more detailed instructions with photos on how to connect the Nintendo Switch. So let's take a look at this controller. The foam bag here are the customizable D-pad buttons. Okay, so my initial thoughts is that this is a very nice blue. This is a really nice feeling rubber grip on the top here. These joysticks seem a bit small. The clicks feel pretty nice. The feeling of the plastic, the inside of the joystick, feels pretty cheap. The D-pad feels kind of weak. Button presses aren't as satisfying. The L and R buttons are really clicky, but the L and R Z, these are actually really nice. Dang. The menu buttons here feel nice as well. The A, B, X, Y buttons are a bit cheaper. It does feel a bit smaller. One of the few Switch controllers I've seen that actually change the D-pad and joystick layout. Switch controllers, including the official Pro controller, follow more of the Xbox style layout, but this is actually switching it to more of a PlayStation controller layout with the two joysticks at the bottom. And now inside this bag, two different plastic pieces to change the D-pad. And it looks like you just pop out the other D-pad and you pop this one in. Yeah, so on the top here with my nail, I technically can just pull the D-pad out like that. And then you can take the other one and just put it on top. And there, you have a nicer feeling D-pad for like fighting games and stuff. And then you can just pull that out, put this one in. This one looks similar to the Xbox Pro Elite controller D-pad. I actually don't like this style of D-pad. So on the back, it just has a reset button, the port for the USB. So if we plug the controller in to charge it, the lights start to flash. Then the lights turn off when it's done charging. Then in order to pair the controller, we go to controllers, change grip order, and then while on this page, you just hold the home button and the Y button in the same time. And then the controller will start searching and it should just pair up automatically. Okay, that's weird. So it doesn't seem to be pairing to the Switch automatically. After trying multiple attempts to connect to the Switch, it just doesn't seem to be able to connect wirelessly. So another thing we can do is put the Switch into the dock to put it on the TV screen. Okay, so now that the Switch is in the dock, I plugged the USB-C cable into it. And the controller seems to have done something. The controller is just vibrating and doing some weird blinking things. Okay, so now it seems to be working. So I could not get the controller to connect the first time to the Switch. I had to plug it in directly to the dock, and then I guess it did its pairing that way. And now all the buttons seem to be working, and I unplugged it, so it's working wirelessly right now. So now if I go to change grip order, now I'm just holding the home button to turn it back on. Okay, there we go. Now the controller connects after it has been paired. So I had to just plug it in to get the initial pairing, and now that it seems to have been paired, It looks like the wireless Bluetooth is working properly now. So the controller is no longer plugged in and the switch is no longer in the dock, but you can see that the controller still works. So now I'm gonna try a power off. So you can see the controller turned off, and now if I hold just the home button, can it turn on the switch? Okay, holding just the home button does not turn on the switch. So let's see, I have to turn the switch on first, then turn on the controller, and then it seems to have paired again. Okay. So it seems like the controller doesn't have an issue connecting to the switch after it has been paired, but again, it has to be paired through the wire first of all. So that's something to keep in mind in case you can't have your switch docked for the initial pairing, or maybe you have the new Switch Lite, can't put it in a dock at all. Something to keep in mind. Okay, so far playing, it's a bit of a strange like hybrid feeling here. PlayStation style with the two joysticks. But the A, B, Y, X buttons follow the same layout as the standard Nintendo. The sensitivity with the joystick, it has a very tough push. This D-pad feels weird, man. It might be this attachment. I just prefer the standard cross shape. I feel like the D-pad does not rise out of the base of the controller that much. Feels a bit flat. It doesn't give you a very nice tactile feeling that you actually hit the button. So I am having a bit trouble getting used to the strength required to move the joystick. L and R top buttons here are very clicky. It actually feels weird. You could probably get used to it, but compared to like other controllers, it's a very, whoops. It's a very clicky button. Again, getting used to the joysticks, I do have to push the joysticks a bit harder than I'm used to. ZL and ZR are similar buttons to the L and R, but they're not as loud. But I don't know if you can hear the ZL, ZR. It's like a button that you click. It's not like a smooth, gradual movement. Man, yeah, so the controllers will definitely take some time to get used to. I am having trouble doing quick movements. So the A, B, Y, X buttons actually are pretty decent. They're a nice soft feeling. They're not hard and clunky. By the way, I don't know if you can hear the rumble. The rumble is nice and strong, you definitely will feel it, but because of that, all of these buttons here are a bit loose. So the rumble like shakes those buttons and you can hear it. What the hell, is someone shooting at me while I'm trying to do a review? Just shake it. You can hear the buttons are loose and rattle. That's what you will hear if the controller is constantly vibrating with rumble. The distance between these two joysticks is a bit awkward. PlayStation controller, I'm pretty sure, is a bit closer together. These are pretty tiny. My entire thumb can cover the whole joystick. Now the joystick clicks are actually very loud and clicky. Now that might be a good or bad thing. Some days I actually kind of like it. It's very tactile. It's like a mechanical keyboard. If you're playing a game for whatever reason, you have to constantly click. It might get annoying because it's loud, but honestly, it doesn't feel bad. It almost feels like a fidget toy. It's just like a satisfying click. The home button is a bit odd because it's in the center when it's usually on the bottom right. Push the middle button like a PlayStation controller again. There is a circle button which is supposed to be the screen capture button. So you can see there, a capture has been taken. Some reason they flipped it. Home should be more to the right, but it's okay if they put it in the center. But the screenshot button should technically be on the left side. Instead, they have the turbo button and screenshots on the right. So it is very awkward for your left hand to hit the screenshot button. My left hand is just so used to hitting the screenshot button. In the moment, if something happens, you want to take a video or screenshot, your instinct is as quickly as possible, hit the left button. But on this controller, it doesn't do anything. You have to be used to the opposite and hit the right side. So that is something I actually really do not like, especially if you keep switching between the Switch layout and this controller layout. It really messes you up. Testing out the motion controls, it does work, and it's a bit odd. If you look on the box, it says motion control and NFCs are not supported, but motion definitely is working in Breath of the Wild right now. I don't have an amiibo on me, so I'm unable to actually test if there actually is NFC, but the box claims it doesn't have it, so I guess it's safer to just assume that NFC does not work on this controller. However, the motion controls do work. I feel like there's a slight delay. Let's see if you can see there. See, there's a slight delay when I tilt the controller, then the screen tilts. See that? So I don't know how accurately you have to use motion controls with your game. So using the D-pad and button controls are actually pretty comfortable. They're not that bad. Well, since I'm using the regular cross shape for the D-pad, I find it's pretty decent. I still feel like the D-pad isn't raised out of the body enough, so it feels kind of flat still. But I can still like comfortably play these old retro games at least, while still using the D-pad. And I'm pretty satisfied with it. So pretty much I feel like it works, and there's not really too much to complain about. So to quickly sum up again, the D-pad don't really have too many complaints with, I'm okay with. The joysticks are a bit awkward and requires a lot more getting used to than I would like. The joystick clicks are iffy. It could be good or bad depending on if you like the click. I actually kind of like it. The buttons are actually pretty good. I'm fine with the buttons. They're soft and easy to hit. The L and R triggers on the top here, a bit weird again because they're just very clicky. It starts to make you kind of feel like you're clicking a quieter version of the joystick clicks. The Z, L, and R triggers are quite comfortable. It is a clicky button, but it is quiet and pretty satisfying to hit. And possibly the worst part about this controller is the middle button layout. Oh my gosh, are you for real? And now we lost. That's this game. Biggest complaint with this controller is that weird, unable to initially connect wirelessly through Bluetooth. You have to use the cable to get that initial connection. However, after that, it does work fine. I would probably skip on this controller just because there's so many other Switch controllers out there. And like every controller has a few little hiccups here and there, but I feel like this controller just has a little bit too many. Compared to some other third-party controllers, this does feel a bit cheaper in build. Unless the controller is actually very significantly cheaper, it might be worth buying. But if the controller is around the same price as other brands, I think other brands would be better to go with. This controller does have a bit awkward layout, and it requires you to get too used to this controller's layout, meaning you'll have more trouble switching between other controllers. So unless you like only use this controller, everything just starts getting confusing. That is my review of the EvoRetro Switch Pro controller. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.